on this episode of the Cyndágo podcast.
With special guest, Tucker Prescott.
Painting, traveling, YouTube versus Vimeo, and nude modeling.
What's up, guys?
Welcome to the Cyndágo podcast. I am one of your two hosts, Billy Bob Fortress.
And I am Steel Cut Scroats.
I don't know why I did that fucking stupid.
You always do like a fake laugh. Like even in Gray's podcast, you can tell like I don't know. It was like a joke was made, then like someone followed on, be like ha ha ha. Huh.
I'm trying to like add to the like ha, but it comes off like on the line between maybe it's a real laugh, maybe it's a fake. Maybe he's a douche and is pretending to laugh because it wasn't funny.
Yeah,
it's hard. That's what it comes off.
Yeah, that's what I think it comes off. Because for me, it's like it's almost like you're like it's you're trying to laugh at something that like you just didn't find enjoyable to listen to. Like you just but like you show it. You're very honest about it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Honesty is the key policy. Something.
Honesty is the key to
the policy that we have.
Honesty is the key. The key
is the key.
All right. Well, let's
seriously. You should go back and listen to how many times you fake laugh.
I feel bad now.
It's okay.
All right.
I love you anyways. You're my pumpkin.
Dude, you're my pumpkin.
Aw.
Ha ha ha.
Just hashtag pumpkin boys.
We are your little pumpkin boys, listeners.
Yeah, so remember, seriously, if you have listened this far in the podcast, which is what, like not even 2 minutes or maybe a little over 2 minutes.
Which is still tough, making it this far. Whew.
Yeah, oh man. But we still got a trek to go. We have a special guest with us today. He's not in the room with us, but we're gonna, transition over to that shortly. His name is Tucker Prescott. And he is mainly, I would say, a friend of Daniel's. I've hung out with him, a few times.
I've called him and just hung up on him. I don't know why that was so funny.
But yeah, but lately we've been doing a theme of Daniel's Friends podcast.
That's so true, though. We need to get Richard on here.
Richard or Matt or Mazin or whatever.
Yeah, or Sean.
Sean's my cousin, and he lives here. It's so easy.
It'd be so funny if he got on and was just like, "Yeah, I mean, I'm good friends with Daniel, Ryan. We're my cousin."
I don't know.
No, I mean,
we didn't talk for years.
We need to get that. We need to get the band thing going back together. We talked about that before, but Sean and I are doing this band thing, and Ryan's just busy being his cousin.
Yeah, it's just so much work. I just sit in my room, just type up reports. It's just Sean is my cousin over and over again.
Like a captain's log of day, however many days you've been alive. Day 9002.
Ha, 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 ha. That's going to be a theme. Ha, ha. That's today's theme.
Daniel's fake laugh. Also, guys, look out for my use of the word, what was, fuck, what's the word
it's not epiphany. I just thought I'd say it's not epiphany. It's definitely not.
It starts with an E.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Equestrian.
Definitely. I haven't ever said that word, ever.
What does that mean?
Equestrian?
Is that a horse thing?
I don't even know.
Equestrian. Horse. I want to say horse.
I know what track you're going down, but enamored. That's the word. Enamored. I used the word enamored in this interview, so be on the lookout.
If you hear him say it, scream really loud.
Scream really loud, and then tweet hashtag Pumpkin Boys.
Yeah, remember, hashtag Pumpkin Boys. Well, I couldn't think of a better time as any.
Yeah, let's go ahead and transition into it. This is Tucker Prescott, artist, filmmaker, traveler extraordinaire. This is gonna be.
Just enjoy the nipple paste, everyone.
Nipple. All right, everybody. We are here with a great friend of ours, Tucker Prescott. Tucker, how are you today?
I'm doing fancier than you can ever imagine.
Yeah, because Tucker Prescott sounds like a fancy name. It sounds like he should have his name on buildings. Tucker Prescott. Do you not get that
I
vibe
agree.
from his name?
I feel that. Yeah,
if you weren't an artist, you would own a law firm. I think that's how it would work.
a law firm. Yeah, I can really see my name on like one of those simple but elegant business cards.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
like an American Psycho.
Like
That-
gold,
Exactly.
but it's like gold
Exactly.
print.
Yeah, or that very specific color like they do in the movie. Like what is it? Like amber waves of grain. I don't know.
What's that movie where like they get something about business cards, or is it a TV show or a movie? I can't remember what
American
it is.
Psycho.
American Psycho? Is the
Yeah,
one with
that's
the
it.
trade back and forth?
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we are here to talk about all the amazing, awesome things that Tucker does. Tucker is an extremely talented individual. He kind of dips his wick in so many different things.
What do you dip your wick in?
I certainly dip my wick in the moistiest of moisters. Let's see. We got painting and traveling and photography and film are probably my like primary things.
What do you paint?
I paint a lot of naked people.
Do you really? Like, you're not joking? You paint naked people?
No, I'm not joking.
Like, do
Yeah,
you
I'm
go
not
on the
joking.
internet and search for naked people, or do you get live nude models?
Yeah, so I paint primarily from live figure sessions.
Is it like a class, or
Yeah.
you just invite people over to your house?
Yeah, I have that's
Your
that's
friends
a fantastic
just-
idea.
Just invite your
Yeah.
friends. Just hey, can you
We'll talk
support
about
me?
naked friends later, but
That's
yes,
how Tucker and I became friends. Actually, he was looking for somebody.
yeah.
And, yeah.
Exactly. It's just invited him in my house. He was sitting homeless on the street.
Did you just recently pick up nude? Not nude. You're not. I was about to say, did you just recently pick up nude
we
modeling
forgot
like
to
you're
ask
doing
Connor
it?
about that because Connor is a nude model.
He is.
Connor is a nude
Right.
model.
Have you painted Connor nude?
I have, yeah.
You have.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Connor-
we got like, well, you guys know Connor. You guys know Gabe Crawford, right?
Yeah, I know Gabe. I know Gabe. Guys, listeners, these are all people that attended the University of South Carolina.
Yeah.
So these are friends.
If you want
of
to, if you want to go look them up, they're their names.
ours. Good.
Connor, Gabe, and then like 1, 2, 3 or 4 other people like I know and have been friends with for years are all nude models at the school. It just so happened that like everyone I know, I end up painting naked.
There's money in nude
Come visit
modeling.
us.
Yeah.
There's a lot of money in nude modeling. Yeah, come visit us.
sure.
But
Yeah,
you do plan to come visit us soon, right?
I sure hope so. Yeah. Hopefully in the fall when I get back from Iceland, I will have time to come out there and make some stuff with you guys.
So yeah. But before we get into the filmmaking, I want to talk a little bit more about your art. So I had the pleasure of going to hang out in your hometown of Hartsville, and I saw while I was there a huge collection of your paintings throughout the years, and I saw. I mean, I was enamored. Like I've used that word in almost every single podcast, and this is my one time of using it in this podcast because
Can't use it
seriously,
again.
I
Can't use it again.
dude. Not
But
this podcast.
it probably fits the paintings. I haven't seen them.
They're incredible.
Send me the paintings, only the nudes of Connor.
There are a lot of there were only, actually it was only nudes of Connor.
Just lined the wall.
Line the walls.
Years
yeah.
and years.
years. Yeah, it was amazing that you could even hold a paintbrush because you guys are relatively the same age, and he was an infant. So I don't know how that worked, but that's weird.
So it wasn't crossing any lines because they were both infants.
Yeah,
Yeah. It was okay.
just simple.
Yeah.
Just
It's fine.
but yeah. So you also, I remember talking to you again one time about your After Effects work, your experience in that software, and as a filmmaker and a visual artist, those two must go hand in hand, right? I mean, you would say that having a painting and like a more physical approach to art in your younger age, and then going to digital media like filmmaking, After Effects work, any 3D work. I know you've done all that kind of stuff, animation, that kind of thing. I haven't seen too much of that work, but for Ryan and I, you know, that's what we do. We do filmmaking, and I've been kind of trying to jump more into visual effects lately. So what is the importance of having a physical art, painting, drawing background before going into digital art?
Yeah. So I mean, I've been painting and drawing for pretty much as long as I can remember. I remember like being with my mom in church one time. Like this is like one of my earliest things. I just remember making this drawing of my mom and her being like, "Cool." And when you get like positive responses over a long period of time, I do at least sort of gravitate towards those things that other people are like, yeah, you're probably pretty good at that. So,
Right.
Over a long period of time, I continued drawing, continued painting. And then by the time I was in college or going to college, I was definitely sort of like, this is what I want to do. And so
So that was your
I guess
first
so.
venture into nude modeling, right?
Yeah, pretty much in college was the
Church.
first time I had like live. Oh yeah, oh yes, that was my mother. Was the first time that
There you go.
experienced
All
together.
right. Now we're
He's on
talking.
board.
Now we're
Yep.
talking. But yeah, so
Yeah, so like I mean, you learn all the formal elements of art, all the formal elements of all these universal, basic parts of the structure of visual art in those programs, and so I was able to take all the different elements that I learned that I could apply to drawing and painting, and bring those over definitely to any sort of film and photography and post work areas. And so it's sort of like this cool merging of all this technical stuff that's really interesting, and I think is really interesting, and then all these formal elements of art and all the composition and all that kind of stuff that you are able to take from the other area.
that's awesome. Yeah, that's always really interested me, that you bridged that gap between visual art and VFX. Because I remember you showing me some stuff that you did even back in high school when you said you kind of first dived into After Effects, and you did some tracking, and you did like some like JJ the Abrams plane effects. Like you did some like what was it, like the anamorphic glow,
Yeah, the flares.
the anamorphic flares and like
going
all that
over
kind of
the place,
stuff
yeah.
for like and now like anybody who says that they own After Effects and is under the age of 16 on YouTube is posting videos of them doing that. But like but I mean even that, like that's such a cool jump, and I don't know. I'm a geek for effects, so I think it's really interesting that you're able to do that. But going back to your visual art, so tell us more about that. Tell us more about your focus. You went to school for it, like, or you're in school for it still. What your thesis is, where you draw inspiration. Just kind of give us the rundown.
Yeah. Okay. So I am currently working on these like large figure / landscape paintings. I was this past summer I was traveling alone through Europe. I had gone through several different countries, and whenever I would stop in big cities, I would go to museums and I would see all this work. And what I'd never seen before was the size of all these different paintings, and just how how much the size can influence you as a viewer, and it's just got a lot of power. And I'm not making paintings that are like 20 feet by 20 feet to that big, but I'm making 6 foot by 4 foot paintings and 9 foot by 6 foot paintings that are figures and landscapes kind of merged together, hopefully with the intent of creating some sort of emotional response. But I have that, and then I do a lot of studies, like I said, from that live modeling, which will be showing as well. I'll have this thesis show in May in Colombia at this gallery, and I'm really excited in terms of just like being able to develop this work and create all these different paintings. If you want to see any of them, I have a website.
Oh my God.
TuckerPrescott.com. Yeah.
We
The
can
plug.
we can see like all of your work.
All of your work, right?
Most of my work, not all, none of the big paintings are up there right now, but a lot of those smaller figure paintings are, yeah.
Small.
Like
Small, like
small
small.
Oh, okay. This translates perfectly into the podcast because you're showing us the
Yes.
size of your hands right now over
Guys,
Skype.
like 2 feet by 1 foot, maybe. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Daniel
yeah.
Perfectly understand. He's showing me that he understands through the way that everyone else in the podcast that's listening can understand.
Yeah. Because when we hold our hands up and like make these air sizes with our hands, like obviously you guys can see it, so that's super worthwhile.
That's just obvious. Yeah.
But yeah, so Ryan, is there anything you want to say?
I'm still on this nude modeling thing because like my cousin has done it before. Connor.
Has he?
He's done it. Not okay.
Your cousin.
Yeah,
Your
my cousin Connor, not
Connor's
Connor on the
your cousin.
podcast. Yeah, he goes to Winthrop and he did some
so
of
it's
that.
actually someone else named Connor. That's
Connor,
also
Yeah.
his name's Connor Renfro, not Connor Jufro.
There you go.
Yeah, but like he did it
Hold on. Does Connor Redford also have a Jufro?
no,
No,
he's the farthest thing from a Jufro.
no,
That's sad.
he's a mullet.
A guy with a mullet nude modeling. Just picture Connor with a mullet nude modeling. Can you picture him, audience?
Yeah, guys, we're holding up our hands, showing the size of Connor. I don't know.
Yeah, but like he did some nude modeling. He helped out one of his friends with like a final project, and I always asked him if it was like weird or like awkward, because that's how I would feel, of course. Because I still feel weird and awkward if I go to a gym and I'm in the locker room and there's a bunch of dicks and balls around me, and I don't know, it's weird. But like when it comes to like art, I guess you view it in a different sense than like an awkward or sexual vibe. It's like, I don't know, how would you go into describing like the first time you like drew someone or painted someone, sorry. Like was it not awkward at all?
I think I was definitely sort of, I had no idea what I was getting into. So it was definitely like coming up to that. I was a little nervous, but like once you get in there, I mean, you realize that you have this thing that you're concentrated on, and the model has this thing that she is concentrated on. They're trying to do whatever pose they have to do, and they're probably a little bored, or maybe if it's a hard pose, they're a little tired. And then you're trying to paint, you're trying to implement like these compositional elements and other elements of art that kind of take away from any of those feelings. I mean, you're just not really thinking about it.
How long are you usually there with a live model? Because obviously it's strenuous on them, and obviously because you're drawing, you have an end goal, but they're in the same position for a long amount of time. So I'm just like, how long are they kept there usually? Like, what's the average?
Yeah. Average time is between 3 and 5 hours. Some of the classes are 5 hours. But
Yeah.
I mean, you definitely get over your whole fear of being naked in front of an audience in that amount of time,
For
but
sure.
still,
For sure.
it would end up like transferring from like, oh, I don't want people to see my penis to, have you seen enough? You've got it, right? You've seen my penis. That's it. That's all you have. Like,
Yeah. Take a picture. It'll last longer. That's not the point.
Yeah, totally. I feel like people probably, a lot of different models probably have different responses. I mean, if it's a hard pose, they're gonna start hurting. Like I said, a bunch of these people are my friends, so I've talked to them about it. And sometimes, like they still ache from doing it. Sometimes it's just boring. Sometimes they fall asleep because they're just laying down like they're sleeping.
Yeah.
So it's a good time.
Has there ever been like an awkward moment where like one of them like moves and has to be like, oh, so sorry everyone, and like one guy's like, oh, come on, I was in the middle of your dick.
That guy's me. I'm that guy. I'm like, Connor, I was trying to paint your dick. Move back to where you were.
has anyone ever
That's basically
gotten
what it is.
aroused mid painting?
Hasn't happened to me.
No, not like you got aroused. I'm talking
I know.
like the artist,
The person.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, you are talking about the artist?
Either.
Either,
really, at this
either.
point.
But it would be a better
As an
story if it
artist.
was the model.
Yeah,
because that would change the
that's the
painting.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to remember,
You
you're on
know
this-
what? I haven't seen that. Yeah, I haven't seen that. I would have to talk. You would have to talk to Connor and
Yeah.
like see if he's had any of those experiences. I haven't.
Yeah.
'Cause
Seen that myself.
'Cause
But Gabe giving you like eyes, and Connor, just like these people that I know, we sort of like give each other weird glances. That's probably the best thing, because like nobody else in the class really knows all these different people sort of like usually as closely as I do. So I'm like talking to these guys and like making weird glances and making them crack up, while everybody else is just trying to like do their own thing.
That'd be.
I guess what I was gonna like say was like because if they did get aroused or something like that, it would almost be like that like painting. What's the one with like the arms are up here?
The Vitruvian Man.
Yeah, it would be like that, except with the dick like slowly getting hard. That's how I picture
Different
it.
stages.
Yeah, like its own little like circumference drawn around it, with, like a graph.
That's genius. And then you can like at the end, once you have everything else drawn, you can be like, can you please do the helicopter for me? Hold that for like 20 minutes. I just need to get this last detail. I need to really know the radius.
It'd be like a flip book of the model.
Like an animated flip book of a penis. All right. Well, now that we're on this subject, it's very easy to segue into another with. Let's talk more about filmmaking. So now we have seen your film work, and it is ridiculous, or your digital work. Have you ever shot anything on film, like video?
No, I've looked into like Super 16 stuff, Super 16 equipment. It looks so cool, but I haven't done any of that. No.
Be expensive, wouldn't it? Like really.
So we've got a lot of fans that are filmmakers themselves and are trying to start out, and you have a really interesting approach that really inspired me as a quote unquote filmmaker. So. And what that is the fact that you do it all so DIY, and it doesn't always start on like Amazon or blogs. It's thrifting, and it's going to
because I remember you were telling us like you have like you get beautiful shots and you use beautiful lenses, and you found your lenses for like what's the most you've spent on a lens?
$110.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
That's
If
unbelievable.
anyone is listening to the podcast and knows like how expensive lenses are, like they can be ridiculous, especially like when you're going by a brand such as Canon. It gets up into even the thousands.
Yeah.
But to find such good lenses, like how do you go about finding the right lens at these thrift shops? Like just by like looks. Like do you bring your camera to try to test it out at all, or like how do you decide? Like how do you go about that?
Yeah, I've definitely done that before. Sometimes like you just have to look around and like know what you're looking for. Also, like you can Google, like once you go to a thrift shop and like if you're looking for lenses or something camera related, you can be looking for that. And if you find it, you can read what it is and Google it and kind of see if the internet has anything to say about it. Yeah, I brought my camera to try stuff on before, but you have to have the right mount and all that stuff for it.
right.
Yeah, so I mean, it depends. I mean, like I spend way too much time reading and researching and like learning about all this stuff related to like lenses and things I'll never use, really expensive camera equipment, just because it's interesting and fun. But I just you go and take a look, see if anything's there. I mean, most of what I bought has been on eBay. And you can scour eBay and like find people who don't know what they're selling and will sell stuff for cheaper than there's this telephoto lens with a pretty wide aperture that I bought for like $30, which it's not that great. I mean, it's usually like $200, which is still not super expensive for a lens, but they obviously didn't know what they were doing, so I kind of took advantage of them.
Nice.
But yeah.
Right.
Well, it's fair.
It's a dog-eat-dog world, man. That's
Yeah,
what it is.
especially when it comes to like I mean, filmmaking is a very expensive hobby, or even going, when you're doing it for a living, it does get really expensive because you're not just buying the camera, you're buying the lenses, you're buying different mounts to put different lenses on, of course, and also like technology is always changing. Because you and I started out with, I think most of us, even you still have your T2i?
Yeah, that's still my main camera. Yeah.
Yeah, that's still your main camera. Like that blows my mind because like I don't know, when I always think of like technology, it's like I guess I got caught up in the mindset of like, get the newest and best because they always advertise it like that. But you've been doing fine, and your shots look fucking incredible. And you have where can people see like some of the demo reels? Is that on your website that you said earlier?
Yeah. There's like a film tab. Also, I'm on Vimeo. I have a Vimeo account because I'm like, artsy, I guess. But I put up a lot of stuff there. All my like personal work is up there. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. And to the listeners, when we had our friend Connor on, not his cousin, not Ryan's cousin, Connor.
I'll just call him my cuz
Brunson.
bro.
The other nude model.
We'll
yeah.
reference Connor as cuz bro now.
The other naked Connor. Okay, cuz bro.
Cuz bro.
We'll have to explain that to you one day. But yeah, so when we had him on, we talked about a short film that he starred in where he did some slam poetry in a field. And that was shot by Tucker. So if you haven't watched that yet, definitely go over and watch that. We'll have links on our Facebook page posted to all of Tucker's awesome work on his website and his Vimeo and stuff. But yeah, so there's something that we need to talk about right now, and this might be super specific to like our interests, and hopefully we can explain something to the listeners about it so they can learn a thing or two. But how about that new Black Magic, man? What do you think?
Ooh, is it
About
the
the
Ursa
Ursa.
Mini?
God.
The Ursa Mini, dude.
It's incredible. It's just like it's.
I haven't
so-
looked too
it's-
much into
It's got
it.
so many things. Yeah, I've like all day. I was at work. I work at a production company actually here in Columbia doing effects work, doing post work, and like today was kind of a slow day, so I knew that it was coming out last night because I saw some leaks, and like all this morning I was like, I was like on the internet looking for information about it. God, it's great. It's like. It's all these wonderful things in a great price bracket, which is still too much for me. But maybe in a year or two.
Are you looking at the 3,000 or 5,000? Which one would you get?
The 5,000 because I've used the sensor in that $3,000 body that's also in the Blackmagic Production 4K. They're the same sensor, and it's good. It's good color, really sharp, but it's missing a few things. And the more expensive sensor is like top notch. For the looks of it, there's some example footage of that same sensor on the Ursa webpage on Blackmagic. They have some example footage from that sensor, and of course, it looks great. There's low light capabilities which the previous sensor didn't have. There's ridiculous amounts of dynamic range. It's the same amount of dynamic range, 15 stops, which is in the new Canon C300 II, which it just came out also last week, but is 20 grand, whereas the Blackmagic Ursa Mini is like 5 grand. And
So how is Blackmagic getting away with this? From your experience and your research, Tucker, how are they getting away?
Yeah, because
with
they've been
this?
doing this since the start. They started off. That was their whole selling point. Is like why charge people this much? And they've all from the start they've had such low prices.
What's your opinion
Yeah.
on that?
Yeah, so number one, I think they're super about the customer. They definitely don't overcharge, which is awesome. Kind of like Canon. Canon really does that, and I think most people would agree that they have a premium attached to their products, many of their products. But also, Blackmagic buys scientific sensors. Like they don't manufacture their own sensors. They look to like educational sensor companies who produce sensors that might be used for like scientific equipment, and they purchase from them. So it might be cheaper to get those sensors, and that's savings that they pass on to us. Other than that, they experiment with all these different types of bodies. Like this is the first body that's really sort of more conventional and ergonomic. The other bodies they've been, they may not necessarily be better and they don't fit every situation. No camera body is best for every situation. They've definitely been sort of like branching out into different areas that no one else has gone, and so it's really cool to see a company like move around in these sorts of areas, and they're finally moving on to this product that's really targeted at really popular cameras like the Sony FS7 and Canon C300. It's really targeted at those sorts of markets, and I really hope it'll do well. It seems like it's going to be great.
Right. And to explain to the listeners, what we're talking about here is a cinema camera. So essentially what you've got is you've got a camera that's in your phone, and that's got a really tiny sensor because as you can see, it's a really, really tiny camera. But we're talking about cameras that are used in cinema, that are used in blockbusters or anywhere in between that. This is more like amateur, intermediate kind of cinema cameras. But essentially, the reason why everyone's raving over Blackmagic is because, like Tucker was saying, with the Sony FS7 and the C300, C100 by Canon, these are all a step above the DSLRs that you could find from these companies. Also, then you've got even higher than that. You've got RED cameras, you've got ARRI cameras. All these really, really expensive
I've always wanted to test out the Scarlett. Like, I want to know how to work it. Because they, as we said before, they had that whole RED thing where they brought the RED cameras to CMF. And we got to look.
That was a RED one. They had a RED one and a RED Scarlett.
Yeah, and we do need to go do that YouTube stuff so we can at least learn how to use those cameras effectively.
Yeah. We actually because now that we're here, YouTube has a program to where if you have a certain amount of subscribers, you can go to their little like intro class, go through this little like day seminar, and then you get approved to use the space that they have, and they have full pre and post studio, multiple studios for everything you need, and they've got it chock full of cameras. It's great. That's why we want you here. Because you would have a heyday here with all the technology that we have at our disposal. But yeah, we definitely just got into a topic that is really, really specific to a very few amount of people who care enough about this kind of stuff. But you know what? Let's talk about something that's been on everyone's minds lately. What is going on with YouTube and versus Vimeo? That's what I'm wondering. So this really hasn't been on everybody's mind, but it's a topic. It's a topic. This has been on no one's mind. I don't care. But anyway, this is a really interesting topic because Ryan and I, we come from more comedy and like more tongue-in-cheek, silly stuff. We do. I mean, Cyndágo, that's what it is.
Quick.
But you do more serious stuff. So I think it's really interesting to have a friend who's so not only technologically savvy, but also does such makes stuff in such a different vein, does art so seriously. And, I mean, it's each serious in their own respect, I think, like what we do to a certain extent is I don't know, art.
Well, it is the content we produce is a different genre, but we're essentially using the same techniques in a way, like using the same general ideas of how to conjure up this material.
Yeah, exactly. So what is Vimeo like? And if you could sum up Vimeo like we could sum up YouTube, what is the typical Vimeo user, like the stereotypical like Vimeo like
you're
catalog?
looking at them,
right? Yeah, I think it's probably someone who's pretentious and a bit of an ass.
Don't be so down on yourself, man.
I mean, like there's sort of like the quality of the compression is better. Like things look a little sharper and a little less blocky. So I think the mindset of like a person who would upload their stuff on there is like, oh, my stuff's important, so it needs to look this, the best. Which it does. The compression is better. It does make sharper web videos, but it's sort of more of a filmmaker oriented community, probably. Less so of just like trying to appeal to like just everyone to get views. I think like a lot of people just host videos and then put them in other places. I think there's less of just like a huge commerce type environment of YouTube where there's just everyone there's just a lot more traffic on YouTube, a lot less on Vimeo. So it's sort of like alternative and a little bit more pretentious, I gotta admit. But I mean, if you're like trying to learn and trying to be constructive, Vimeo is usually a good place for that. Like the community tries to be positive and constructive to everyone that when people leave comments. It's something that the Vimeo staff specifically asks for and specifically tries to promote. So maybe it's a little bit nicer, and I mean also Vimeo users who upload videos, you don't have to pay, but if you want other options, you can pay to be able to have more services from them. And so I think in the way that YouTube kind of collects money through advertising revenue, or YouTubers collect money through advertising revenue, Vimeo users aren't necessarily looking for revenue to be collected from Vimeo, more of a place to display their work. So definitely a different environment. But I mean, they're both good. I honestly should be putting stuff on YouTube as well. I don't know why I haven't.
Yeah, YouTube is just it's what is it? I think it's the second most popular search engine on the internet right now, and it's the third or something. Don't quote me on this. Most high traffic website in the world. So yeah, you're gonna find everything on YouTube, mostly crap. But yeah, Vimeo is such a smaller, nicer community. That's the thing I saw about the size. I think is what really makes it so great. And yeah, it's hard to come across bad work on Vimeo.
Well, you get a lot of like beginner college films. Like I know you had to, when I was going to USC and you did film projects, you had to upload them onto Vimeo and share them with the class. So, but they're not really presented. Vimeo, YouTube presents stuff that'll get them money really on the front page. Stuff that's getting really like not just popular, but you'll see how PewDiePie and big channels are being advertised on the front page because
right.
YouTube gains revenue from them. Vimeo, I'm not sure how it works, but it seems like it'll post the popular stuff, so you won't really like run into like bad like. I'm not saying all college like beginning stuff is bad, but when you're talking about this is how you pan, like projects like that, you won't run across those as simply, but they're still there. But hopefully people will put those videos on private or something like that. But I remember I used to watch, like the problem with Vimeo, at least I haven't gone into it such a long time, was that it took forever for videos to kind of load. Because they were so high in quality. Like I was always trying to watch a short film at like high school. Like we were always trying to do something in high school or something, and we'd try to go back and do it on YouTube because YouTube just worked a little quicker. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
It just
no, that's true.
I like the community of Vimeo because, as you were saying, it is a very filmmaker centric community because that's where I first saw the videos of, I can't remember the name of this guy, but he does videos and he talks about Edgar Wright's directing style, Jackie Chan's fighting style, and how that pertains to how fighting style today in films.
I know who you're talking about.
You know who I'm talking about?
Name.
Yeah. I mean, he has a YouTube channel, but he's also like on Vimeo, and that's where I don't know, this seems more care and love is really brought into Vimeo, and with YouTube, it's just like it's all a game. How do we get the views? Mm-hmm. How does someone get the views? How do you get people to comment? How do you get people to like? It's really, YouTube is really based on social interaction, like as in, getting those likes, getting those comments, trying to really market it that way. And Vimeo seems more like a FAQ for certain people because people are always welcome to help you when you comment on their videos.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about your traveling. You've done a lot of it, and I think actually that's what most of the videos that you have posted are about, is your traveling and the experiences you have, and like a collection of shots throughout your trips. So you've been all over the world. What is the most recent trip that you've taken?
Yeah. So last summer, I basically spent the entire summer hitchhiking and backpacking through Iceland, England, France, and Italy. And so I had originally intended to do this big solo, just backpacking, walking trip across Iceland from north to south through the center of the country. But I went too early in the summer, and there was too much snow still left over in that area. So instead, I sort of traveled around the country and met a lot of people, and just had a wonderful time, especially with hitchhiking, just being able to meet so many people. And then flew to England, and I went from England, around England, and then through France to Italy to go to a painting residency in Italy. I spent 3 weeks there at the end of the summer painting. And yeah, just some of the best experiences in my life I had during that trip, being able to have that sort of freedom and just being able to like give myself up to whatever was going to happen just led to some really incredible fun and crazy moments on the road.
I can't imagine the courage it must have taken to be able to just walk, literally just walk around and meet people and not know, maybe where you're even going to sleep that night. I mean, that's how I would imagine it would be. It might not have been that, but I mean, was it hard? Was it ever like, oh man, like what have I gotten myself into? Or was there enough resources at your disposal, or you just, you were used to traveling, or I mean, what does it take to be able to backpack and not be always worried about,
Yeah. Well, I've had a lot of experience previously backpacking and traveling. Been to a good amount of other countries. Been to Chile, Argentina, Ecuador, New Zealand, Costa Rica. Before that, kind of been around. But I think the primary thing was that I was raised sort of being in the outdoors a lot. My dad and my mom really sort of tried to get me out. And then when I was older, I was doing backpacking, just sort of outdoors backpacking, and then went on some longer trips when I was a teenager, and then ended up guiding backpacking trips when I was in college. And so I would spend the summers, my freshman and sophomore year summers, out in New Mexico guiding backpacking trips. And so I sort of learned a lot of the skills and became confident in a lot of the skills just to sort of be outside and be alone, to be able to survive and feel comfortable in that sort of environment. So yeah, I mean, the basic idea of like getting out there and walking around at that point, it wasn't so bad. Since I've done it a while, I have a tent, I have food, I have water. That's really what you need. But there were some points at which it got kind of scary. Two specific points. At one point, I ran out of water when I was sort of in the middle of these. I had come down from these mountains and gone into this very large field that was just full of these mounds that were like you had to walk up and down and up and down. It was, even though the whole field, like the whole plain area, was pretty flat. I mean, the small ups and downs were what wore me down, and I ran out of water right in the middle of there, which was pretty worrying. And I knew the closest road was like 5 miles away, which isn't too much, but at that point I was really tired. And so I sort of set a waypoint, set a bearing where I could go to the closest road possible, and walked really slowly. It took me 5 hours to go that 5 miles.
Wow.
But once I got to the road, I sat down and waited for a car, and there are nice people out in the world that try to help you. And I met this retired doctor who like farms eider bird feathers, which is like down except 10 times better. And he gave me water and helped me out, and I met someone new, and so and even through that, I had this great experience. And also, when I was in France, I was using my cell phone to navigate, and I left my cell phone in somebody's car. This old French guy's car who would have no idea how to use the phone, no idea how to get it back to me, and he had just left, and I was just like, I freaked out because I did not know where I was. I didn't have a map for France. I was just using my phone, and like I sat down on the sidewalk and like I cried for like 15 minutes because I had no idea where I was.
Oh my God. That's terrifying.
And then and I was worried because I had to get to the painting residency in Italy in like 3 days. I was kind of running low on time, and so I screwed up. I like kind of found my way around the town and went to the train station, but didn't know where any of the towns that the train station led to were. Didn't know which way I was going out of the train station. But I got on a train and I went the exact opposite way I was supposed to, which basically took an entire day off of my schedule because I went maybe like 3 hours northwest, like towards, away from Italy. Got out at Orléans, and sort of saw the sign, and then I just took my compass out, and I was just like, I'm gonna go southeast. I'm just gonna hitch southeast, and that's gonna be it. And so I walked southeast out of the town, and I hitched on the highway, and I just said sud-est. I'm going southeast. That's it. And people picked me up. I took a lot of short rides that time. Some people had broken English, so they tried to help me out, told me where to go. And I had like one of my craziest hitchhiker pickup type things. I was picked up by this probably like 50-year-old tiny French woman. I think she said she was a teacher. She spoke a little bit of English. Who was in a pink BMW Z3, which is this little convertible, like pink purple, as the sun was going down, and she was playing very, very loud reggae music as she was coming down, and she picked me up, and we went like 90 miles an hour down this backcountry French road. I wasn't able to talk to her because we didn't speak the same language. We just listened to this reggae music and flew down this road for like the next half hour. And so I never would have had that experience if I hadn't left my phone and freaked out and gone the wrong way.
Dude, that's nuts. I would go insane. I'd be so scared. I'd immediately be like, all right, I'm going to find someone who has a phone and call my parents and say, fly me home now. I'm scared. I want to get out of here.
Easily panic attack inducing for me.
Oh my God. I mean, I couldn't, if that happened here.
Yeah. Even if that happened here, mommy, daddy.
I could just right below the city, like in South Central LA, and I get lost. Dude, I'd be terrified. I'd be so scared.
For sure.
But that's so cool. Like, I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of people, there's a lot to learn from experiences like that. And I myself, I want to travel more. You've inspired me and hopefully a lot of the listeners to get out and do that because, I don't know. There's just so much more of the world than I could even imagine right now. I've done tons of research on tons of things, but you still really never know. I'm getting so deep right now, guys.
You're so deep, dude.
Whoa,
it's
dude.
deep? Is it really deep? Are you sure?
Dude.
Yeah, but I mean, you're right. You get out there and sort of learn about yourself, and I mean, really learn that things that might seem scary aren't as scary as they as you thought they might be. Things that come up, you just deal with, and you have to, and so you learn to be flexible and to sort of adapt to whatever comes. And I think that does make you stronger in a way to be able to adapt to those sorts of situations.
Yeah, exactly, dude. I envy that. I envy that.
Yeah, I more like what you were saying, Daniel, because Tucker, you've already done this of course, when it comes to traveling. But I've traveled a lot, but not in the vein of how you do it. I've gone on cruises. I've been to resorts. I've been to Puerto Rico, Costa Rica, all those places. But we were just like, let's go ziplining, book a ziplining tour. Like it's never like we went backpacking, and I'm interested in doing that. But where I'm interested in doing that would be like backpacking in Ireland. I would really like to do. I don't know, like just pictures. I mean, of course, when you look up pictures of like Hawaii or Ireland or anything, it's just going to be the most beautiful thing. But I'm like, probably when I get there, it's just automatically, this isn't anything like Google Images.
It's really gray and it's always raining. I don't like it.
I want to go back home with my Wi-Fi.
I thought everyone would have a really cute Irish accent. I can't understand a damn thing that people are saying. This is ridiculous. Yeah, I've got some friends at USC who a lot of them are in the UK right now studying abroad, and that's really cool. That's one thing I feel like I really missed out on was the ability to study abroad in school. Besides missing out on school entirely, I missed that whole train too.
You went to just like me. You went to a technical college, so
Well,
that's his
quote unquote went to a technical college.
Yeah.
I happen to find myself some days at a technical college. I think that's a more appropriate explanation of what that experience was. But yeah, so in closing, Tucker, because this has been awesome. This has probably been one of the most it's cheesy, but it legitimately one of the most inspirational guests we've had. Because I mean, there's so much to be learned from people who go out of their way and leave their surroundings or find a new way to view something like filmmaking and kind of go against the grain there.
And we can't stress enough, go check out his stuff. We're going to put a link in the description. Wherever you see this, we'll probably post it. On Facebook, we'll definitely have links to Tucker's stuff. Definitely in iTunes, we can put links.
Right.
You just need to go to the description. The description in iTunes might be a little in the podcast app, maybe a little hard to find for some. If you're using your phone, you just click the info icon, which is the eye in a circle, and that's pretty much how you get to get to the description. I'm not sure there's a way to get on with iTunes. I haven't found a way to see the description.
Well, I mean, the podcast is still a baby, so we're learning as we go. We'll find out a way to get you guys these links.
Yeah, but
the best way possible.
You need to watch his stuff.
You need to watch it. It's incredible, and his website. You blog on your website too, right? You talk a little bit about.
Yeah. Every once in a while, I post. Yeah, I post about experiences, post about work, and about just ideas on film and painting and photos too. I have a lot of photos from travel. That's primarily what the photos are, is travel photography type photos. So a lot of that on there.
Very cool, man. But yeah, in closing, I wanted to ask you one more question. What is the best advice you've ever received? Not to put you on the spot, but yeah, that's a tough
the
question.
Best.
But yeah, or just anything that sticks with you today, because I've gotten a lot of advice in my life, and I hear those quotes replaying in my head all the time of the most influential advice. But what is some that you think, that you've gotten from somebody that's really inspired you?
Let's see. I don't know. I mean, there are a lot of different things. The camp or ranch that I worked at, backpacking guiding, the original person who donated that land to the Boy Scouts of America had a lot of different inspirational quotes. But I think maybe to be able to, I've just had experiences where older people sort of recognize the importance of doing things that push you out of your comfort zone, because they understand looking back that those sorts of things are important. So the retired Idabird doctor farmer that I met on the northern coast of Iceland, who picked me up and gave me water when we talked, and I told him about what I was doing, specifically said, hold on, I have it written down. Oh, a book.
He's grabbing a book. We're gonna. Okay, there he goes. He's sitting back down.
This is a sketchbook, notebook thing.
Flipping through the book.
From my time there.
And he's still flipping through the book.
He's flipping past all the naked pictures of his friends.
Yeah. They're all in there. Oh, so many. Yeah. He specifically said, and I guess this isn't exactly like an inspirational quote, but it was just something I found sort of validating, I guess, in that people recognize that these things are important. He said, I like meeting young people like you doing crazy things like this. It shows me that they're worth something. And so it's really wonderful that people other people understand that doing things like this will help you progress in life. Just even if it's not related to your career, just like going out and having the confidence to just go and do something, and it shows people that you're worth something, that you can go and do these things on your own. So
That's awesome, man. That's such a great quote. But yeah, man, this has been so much fun to have you on. Like this has probably been, like I said, I'll say it again. Like this is definitely one of the most serious podcasts we've had.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot to be learned from what you had to say and everything. And I'm sure I'll still be going back asking you tech questions every once in a while when I need some help. But this has been Tucker Prescott, a good friend from South Carolina. And Connor.
Connor, yeah, my name's Ryan. Thank you.
Connor's here in spirit.
I live right across the way from you.
I live literally a room across from him, and I can't remember his damn name. But what he's going to do right now, this guy who's sitting in front of me, he's going to take us home.
Oh, yeah. Okay.